We're ready to go with Hockey from Home, presented by Kemba Financial Credit Union. Bob McElligott, alongside of one of the newest members of the Columbus Blue Jackets, centerman Max Domi, is with me. And Max, just bear with me a second. My son told me I needed to look festive. Okay, so I'm going to do this.
I love it. Where do you go? I got to get myself one of those.
We've had this one for a while, but I'm sure somebody can get their hands on one here for you. First of all, thanks for doing this tonight. Really appreciate it. And where are you right now? What are you up to right now?
I'm in Toronto. I'm at my house in Toronto, actually. Sorry about the mess. You can't really see it, but I got a mess here in my room. No, I'm still in Toronto, just training away, hoping to get down to Columbus in the next couple of weeks here. So feel great, ready to go. It's just everyone's kind of playing the waiting game. We don't really know what the future has in store for us, but I feel great.
Yeah, well, that's good. You're right. Nobody knows, and everybody wants to know. That's the biggest question. So speaking of this, Max, since you're joining us here for the first time on Hockey from Home, fans that are on here and are watching and listening, they're going to get to ask questions. So I'll sift through their questions and ask them. If you're out there watching and you have a question, all you have to do is go to the Q&A button down at the bottom of the screen, and you can go ahead and type in your question, and I might pick out yours to ask Max. So you were just talking about how excited you are in the waiting game and all that. So let's just start with this question from Cameron to get things going. And Cameron's question is, what are you most excited about when coming to Columbus?
I think anytime you get traded, and this is the second time for me personally, but you're just so excited to meet your new teammates, right? And start getting to work with them. It's a pretty kind of nerve-wracking feeling, I guess, because you're used to playing against these guys, and I'm lucky. I'm in my 6th year in the league now, so I know these guys from playing against them. And it's very, very rare you meet a hockey guy that's not an awesome dude. So I know that locker room is one of the best across the league, if not the best. And I'm just super excited to kind of get in there and get to know everyone and help this team out. So I'm really, really excited to get down there. That's kind of first and foremost, but just being part of the group. The city of Columbus, I've heard nothing but good things. Obviously, the fan base is outstanding. You guys are always pretty loud whenever we come in there on the road. So now I'm excited to be on the other end of that. That's for sure. What else? I mean, definitely at the top of my list is playing just on that team opposed to playing against that team. Now that I'm a part of the Columbus Blue Jackets, it sounds weird to say, but it's so hard to play against the Jackets on a daily basis. It's very, very rare, even when you watch them play, that it's like they're not there. You know what I mean? Once in a while, any team can kind of slip up a little bit, but it's just they're so consistent, and they're always, right in your face all game long. They skate so hard, very hardworking team, a lot of speed and a lot of depth, and they just kind of roll you over. And it's never a fun night playing against the Jackets. So I'm looking forward to playing on the good side of that now.
You mentioned about the city and hearing great things. And
yeah.
I say this all the time. When you go on the road, like I get a chance to go on the road with the team too, but what you see the hotel, you see the restaurants that are pretty close to the hotel, and you see the arena. I mean, other than that, you don't spend enough time there to get the gist of the whole thing. So how much are you looking forward to seeing all of Columbus?
Yeah, exactly. Columbus is actually one of the few places that I've got to explore from a different perspective. Just obviously it's pretty well documented, but Josh is one of my best buddies. So whenever we'd go there, I'd always grab dinner with him, or if not dinner, I would go hang out at his place, whatever, catch up. And the first couple of times I went there, he showed me around like Ohio State campus. I remember that. That was super cool. Showed me all the restaurants he liked. He said like it's a hidden gem for really good restaurants. So I love my food, that's for sure. Definitely like to eat pretty healthy. And he said there's lots to choose from. So excited about that. And my dad's wife, my stepmom, Heather, is actually from there. So her mom, Sue, lives there still, and she's helped me out a lot with kind of the transition here. She's super excited to have me there. I'm really excited to spend some more time with her. And my dad, anytime he's gone there, he's like, it's very rare to meet a person from Columbus, Ohio that's not, super nice and super genuine. So, I've heard nothing but good things. And like I said, the brief little tour I got from Josh, it was great. It seemed like an awesome city, and the people there, from what I've heard, are outstanding. So overall, I'm just really looking forward to getting down there.
All right, you're setting me up beautifully here in the first couple of questions, Max, leading me right to the next one, like this one from Ryan, who says, how has having your dad, being the legend that he is, prepared you for life in the NHL?
That's a great question. I'm very fortunate to have a father that played in the NHL for such a long time. for sure. Everything comes with pros and cons, but you got to always slice the positive and everything. So we'll focus on the positives for for argument's sake here. But no, just being around the players that he played with, guys like Matt Sundin. I mean, Ed Belfour, Curtis Joseph, Gary Roberts, Joe Newendike. I mean, Owen Nolan, all these unbelievable hockey players and legends, quite frankly. And just seeing how they kind of take care of themselves. And every player has their own little unique niche about them kind of thing, and their work ethic, the way they integrate with the community, how they prepare for practices, how they recover from practices, and all that good stuff. And just how they're normal people, right? And by no means is it normal to have Matt Sundin as your so-called best buddy. I used to tell people, "Oh, who's your best friend?" Oh, Matt Sundin. Like as a little kid, obviously, that to me it was just normal because I spent so much time around the rink and with the Hall of Famer like Matt's. It just became normal. And then all of a sudden I got to an age where like, okay, yeah, that's not exactly normal. So I definitely didn't take it for granted, but just being around situations like that is what I definitely cherish the most. And I'm thankful I got the opportunity to learn from all those guys. And then obviously on top of that, when your dad is your dad, I mean, I talk to my dad probably at least 3-4 times a day. We're very, very close still. And he's got his opinions and has seen me grow as both a hockey player and a person. So from his perspective, it's a guy that played in the hardest league in the world and doing one of the hardest jobs for, 16, 17 years. It's pretty good little guy to have on your shoulder here just to help you get through the tough times. Because obviously playing in the NHL is something that comes with a lot of ups and downs and a lot of adversity that you got to battle through. So I'm very, very lucky, that's for sure.
Yeah, and when your dad played in the way that your dad played, the league was much different back
Yeah,
then, right?
100%. 100%.
Could you imagine if you had to play the way that he played? I'm not saying that you couldn't, but I bet you it's more fun to do what you do now.
Yeah, we always joke about that. I always tease him about, when he tries to tell me, "Oh, why'd you make that play on the power play?" I was like, "You never played in the power play in your life." He's like, "Yeah, I had the best seat in the house for 20 years, bud." I'm like, "All right, fair enough. Touche." But no, he's very, very wise with the game. That's all he does now is study the game and watch the game. And obviously he had a role that, he decided to take that on because he knew he had to do whatever it took to stay in the NHL. And it's so hard to stay in this league that you got to respect guys like that. Even though my dad had a lot of skill, a lot of speed, could score goals, he opted for, to do the hardest job in hockey, and that's protecting his players and holding guys accountable and just being a great glue guy in the locker room and super positive kind of voice. And those guys are the most valuable players in the locker room. Obviously the guys that score you 30 goals and 40 goals, whatever it might be, are guys that are what it takes to win. But you need the guys like my dad for sure. And unfortunately, the game's kind of going away from that, which has, in my opinion, led to a lot of flaws that are in our game now. And I definitely miss that. I personally wish we still had guys like that in our game. But hey, for whatever reason, that's not the case. And like I said, I respect my dad more than anyone in the entire world, because for him to do that job night in, night out, it's the most selfless thing. And to lay your own health on the line like that every single night and have to prepare for that one moment is it's pretty crazy. And the mind, goes in crazy places when you're going through that stuff. And his ability to kind of endure that and play such a long, amazing career with especially almost the same franchise the entire time is something that people don't realize. Like that's very, very hard to do. And he's got the most fights of all time in the league. So that record will not be broken. I can guarantee you that. And I'm proud to call him my dad.
Yeah, not in today's game. You're absolutely right about that. Let's get this question in from Donna. This is very simple. What's your favorite NHL rink to play in?
Ooh, it's always nice for me going back home to Toronto. Obviously, a lot of memories there. So family and friends always come watch and stuff. And just, for my personal, point of view, just being on that ice kind of when I was, anywhere from 4 to whatever it was, 6, 7 years old, and just standing in the middle of the ice with absolutely no one in the stands and wearing my little, paperweight gear or whatever it was. And I was just a kid learning how to skate and play and looking around by myself, not a soul in the entire rink with a bucket of pucks, and being like, man, I want to play in the NHL so bad. And like, imagine playing in this rink with like a full, capacity rink and 20,000 people. And that's just, it was a dream for me. And now that I'm living that, it's definitely surreal going back there every time we play against the Leafs for sure. Other than that, Vegas is a pretty amazing experience to play there. The way that that city is right around that team. It's remarkable. It's an unbelievable atmosphere. And for all the Jackets fans that haven't been to a game when we go to Vegas, if you have the ability to do that, I would highly suggest it. It's a pretty cool experience to watch a Vegas Golden Knights game against whoever. And I always look forward to playing there.
Yeah, you're right about that. And hey, right now the fans are looking forward to going anywhere.
I know.
Seriously. They would even go to Detroit, for crying out loud. But I wanted to ask you that question because you just came from Montreal, and I think that is one of the best buildings. And I'll tell you what I love about it. And you've been there as a visitor and as a home guy too. But what I love about it is if you go in there and you start to take it to the Montreal Canadiens, those people they love you, but they might hate you real fast if you're not playing well.
Oh yeah, it's such a storied franchise, right? And it's very, very cool, and it's kind of it's hard to put into words, like playing for an organization like Montreal, and just it's of course the fans and the rink are outstanding too, but it's more so the guys that wore that jersey before you. That's what makes it so special. And I mean, you alluded to it as well. It's just playing at the Bell Center. It's a massive building. Those fans love their Habs. All they want is a Stanley Cup, and they bleed hockey. So I was very privileged to play there for a couple of years, and it's a great place to play. Awesome building, but hey, like honestly, I'm not even kidding. Like playing in Columbus is it's such a hidden gem. No one talks about it. I know coming in there, both when I was with Arizona and on the Montreal Canadiens, it was always a very tough building to play in. The cannon is one thing, obviously that's everyone knows about that, but it's just something about that. Columbus in their own rink is intimidating. It really is, and it's a tough place to play. So I know I keep saying it, but I'm really looking forward to being on the other side of that. And get to experience that as now my home rink. I really can't wait. I'm pumped.
No, you could make it a tougher place to play, quite frankly, the way
I'm looking forward to that. I really am.
Let's get this question in from Todd. He says, and this is kind of what we're just talking about. What do you think the impact that you can bring to the Blue Jackets is with the way that you play the game? First of all, let me take that a little step further before we get to the way you play the game. How happy are you that you're going to get to move back to the middle of the ice? You know you're going to be a centerman on this team.
Yeah, that's what I'm most excited about, to be honest, in terms of the play part. But I love playing center. Obviously, still got a lot to learn. Played a couple of years in Montreal, a year and a half of center in Montreal. And before that, I was always a winger, going back to like when I was 16 years old. So the fact that I got the opportunity to play that was kind of just thrown on me out of the blue. And I started doing it. I was like, all right, whatever, I'm game. I don't care. And I fell in love with the position again. I was like, oh man, no wonder I love center as a kid so much. You have the puck way more. You can use your speed way more. You make plays. And look at myself as more of a distributor of the puck. I'm working on the whole shooting aspect and being more of a shot threat. That's definitely at the top of my list for things I got to get better at. But when you're in the middle of the ice, you have, obviously both directions you can go, and playing your backhand, playing your forehand, whatever that might be. So I'm really, really excited to do that. And that being said too, obviously Columbus and Torts play, we play a style that's very defensive, and your responsibility is very, very high as a centerman, and understanding that being responsible in your own end comes before offense. That's still something that I'm always working on every single day. Still a pretty young player. So that and face-offs are two big things that come hand in hand with playing in the center of the ice. So I'm lucky enough to have, the trust in my coaches and obviously management to put me in that position. And I'm just going to keep working on it and trying to get better and better every day.
All right. Speaking of your shot.
Yeah.
Here's a fun one for you. Addison would like to know, if you could take a penalty shot on any NHL goalie, which one would it be and why?
In history? Like, can I pick a retired goalie?
I think it's wide open. I don't see anything that says it has to be a current one. So whatever you want.
I'd have to go with Curtis Joseph or maybe even Ed Belfour, because like the story I was telling you about me being at the ACC by myself before a morning skate. Sometimes Eddie or Cujo would come out. There's actually a picture of me with Cujo, and I think I beat him 5-hole a couple times. So I got that under my belt. I'm sure he was trying pretty hard on a 4-year-old, but I beat Cujo 5-hole. So I think I'd go with Cujo in real life NHL.
Go back and see, or prove to him that you can do it in real life.
Just let him know that I actually do.
Yeah.
I do have him
Yeah.
in the shootout for sure.
Tell him this time you can try, and I'm still going to beat you.
Yeah, exactly.
You mentioned John Tortorella. Matthew would like to know, are you ready to train under John Tortorella?
Yeah, I can't wait. Torts is a guy that's obviously very well respected across the league. He's been successful, and everyone knows who Torts is, right? And you play hard, and he'll treat you accordingly. So keeps guys accountable, and that's what it takes. And you have a guy like that driving the bus, it's much easier to jump on board and to help the team out. And that's what the Blue Jackets are all about. It's a team that's not just one or two guys. It's a full team of 4 lines and 6D and 2 goaltenders, literally. And when you're a part of that, it's fun. It's really, really fun. And Torts is a guy that doesn't mess around. He has high expectations of his players, and I'm looking forward to being held accountable for those standards as well.
Yeah, you talked about needing to work on your defense as a centerman. He'll make sure you do that.
Exactly. You don't have a choice. Do it.
No, you do not have a choice.
Exactly.
But I think one of the great things is, and I've done a lot of interviews here in the last few weeks where guys are asking about, you joining this team and how you're going to fit in. And I, what I think is the way John Tortorella coaches. I mean, Pierre-Luc Dubois is the number 1 centerman here. You're going to slot in behind him. But on any given night, no matter who it is, if somebody's not doing their job, somebody else is going to pick up those minutes. So, if he falters, you're going to get an opportunity. If you falter, somebody else is going to get an opportunity. That's just how it is.
For sure. And you talked about it earlier, and I kind of alluded to it, was just how deep this roster is, which allows a coach like Torts to do that, right? I mean, you better be ready to go from the drop of the puck every night. And that's just going back to the word accountability. He's holding his players accountable, and he's got a way that he expects his team to play. And if you're not ready, then see you later. So I think that's great. It's very black and white. You're ready to go, play hard every shift. And say no more. I'll be ready. That's for sure.
I'm with Max Domi, Blue Jackets centerman. This is Hockey from Home. It's presented by Kemba Financial Credit Union. Taking your questions for Max. And Rob wants to know, is your dog there? Because Rob would like to meet him.
My dog is here. He's downstairs with my girlfriend right now. She's helped me pack tonight. So he had a long day, a couple long walks. But you guys will meet him for sure when he comes down to Columbus.
Now, your dog's a special dog, too. I mean, every dog they say is a man's best friend. But for you, he's even more than that, isn't he?
Yeah, he's incredible. I'm a type 1 diabetic. I'm sure a lot of you guys know that. I'm also celiac, but my type 1 diabetes is something that is pretty complex, doesn't take a day off. And it is something that I've had to deal with since I was 12 years old. And there's a lot of stresses and anxiety that come with that. Obviously, when you're 12 years old, your parents are kind of at the top of that list for being anxious and worried. So when I got to the age of 16, I think I was, moved to London, Ontario, spent a few years in junior, and I was lucky. My billets had a billet, or my billet brother, so billet son, I guess, was also a type 1. And then my roommate, Jared Knight at the time, was also a type 1. So there was 3 of us together. So that kind of made the transition of me moving out of home pretty easy and pretty swift. After my 4 years there, it was I definitely learned a lot about the disease. But then when I went to Arizona, there was still that, oh, geez, he's going to be by himself playing in the NHL. Like, we need some sort of safety valve here. And did a lot of research. I always wanted a dog. My mom did not trust that I was responsible enough to have a dog of my own. I had a dog my whole life, but I was a family dog. So she definitely put me through the ringer for that, and understanding how much work goes with having a dog. So anyways, when I turned 20, she allowed me to get the dog, wrote an essay, went down to California, and met with the company and all the trainers and stuff. They put you literally through all kinds of different background tests and all that stuff, and you meet the dogs. And it was a really, really cool experience. And it's a long process. It really is. So anyways, I got my hands on the ability to pick a couple names for dogs, and picked a couple out, ended up not being the ones for me. And they slotted Orion with me, who is literally, since that day, like, that guy's my best friend by far. He's actually able to detect from, like, glucose levels go either low or high. I don't use him as much as I would have in the past. I actually have a continuous glucose monitor now, which is called the Dexcom G6. So it's almost the same thing that he was doing. It actually, I wear it on my body, and it detects when my glucose levels drop or go high. But he was just as smart as the technology was. So He's kind of on vacation now because I got that CGM, but he's still my best buddy. He's still with me everywhere I go. So yeah, like you said, he's very special. Definitely smarter than I am. I don't know how much that says, but he's very, very intelligent. It's unbelievable. Almost too smart for his own good sometimes. So like I said, you guys will meet him somewhere down the road, and he's awesome.
I've got to ask you, being a type 1 diabetic, with everything that's going on in the world now with COVID,
Yeah.
how much have you taken more precautions, or have you worried more about that? How have you approached this whole thing?
Yeah, I'm definitely taking COVID obviously very seriously. I do have a compromised immune system, so technically you're at high risk, whatever you want to call it. But I mean, I think everyone should be taking it seriously. The sooner we get through this, the faster we get back to normal life. So, I hope the next few months are telling for all of us to hopefully give us some sort of clarity in the future here. But no, from my perspective, it's no different. I've always taken my body very seriously. I take a lot of pride in taking care of myself, recovering from games, practices, travel, all that stuff. And not just as a type 1, but just as an athlete in general. And then you put the diabetes on top of that. There's a lot that goes into that. And I enjoy it. I enjoy eating good, sleeping good, and doing all the stuff you possibly can to put yourself in the best position to succeed. So I try and educate myself as much as possible. And obviously when something like COVID comes along, you're going to go, I mean, based off of everything you've learned and how you feel and where you have to feel the best. So it hasn't really changed much for me personally. I mean, all I really do is train in the off season anyways. And it's been nice to get to spend some time with my family a little bit in this extended off season, get moved into my new house here in Toronto. So I can't complain. It's been all right. It's not great by any means. I mean, no one's happy with COVID, and hopefully we're done with it soon. But trying to make the most of a tough situation has been something that I've definitely learned, and definitely grateful for the opportunity to do that.
Well, during this time, as you just said, you've had more time on your hands. So
Yeah.
Jill would like to know, what are your favorite hobbies outside of hockey?
Ooh, good question. Hobbies. Well, I mean, I love sports across the board, so I watch a lot of sports, like football. Definitely a big basketball fan too. Really, any sport you throw on, I love that. But love watching TV shows. Obviously, Netflix is something in my daily routine these days. I love binging stuff. Watched a lot of good shows over the last, half year or so. So it's been great. I guess you can call me a homebody, but I don't know. I've learned to be a homebody over the last 6 months, I guess, and it's been all right. I can't complain, but I'm definitely excited to kind of get back to hanging out with the boys. That's probably my number one hobby is just chilling and laying back. And I love the game of hockey, and the best part about playing hockey and playing in the NHL is you go to work and you go to war with your 20 best buddies, so to speak, every single day, and we're all very close. And I'm sure that'll be the same sort of thing when I get to Columbus. Our sport is incredible for that. You just gel so fast, and you all have such common, goals, and you all came from very similar backgrounds and kind of stories and stuff. And if you didn't, then you just kind of learn so much about everyone. And it's a special, sport for that way. You can allude to it too, I'm sure, Bob. It's a very special group, and just to be a part of that is amazing. So that's my number one hobby, is getting down there and hanging out with the fellows.
Yeah, because that's what we miss the most.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm the same way in my career. I love being around the players and being a part of what's going on. But then, we've got our broadcast group too. And
Yeah.
there are people that are your friends that you're so used to being around for like 8 months a year. And all of a sudden it's been 8 months and this is the only way you've seen them.
Yeah. 100%.
All right, let's get another question here for you. And again, this falls along the lines. This is going way too perfect, Max. I don't know what's happening tonight. But Abigail says, who are you most excited to have as a line mate? As if you get the pick. But let's just say you could.
I don't pick the line, so and hey, I'm the new guy, so I don't get to.
All right, well, let's just make it. Let's make it as a teammate. Maybe you can pick a couple of guys.
I can't wait to play with any of these guys. Like I said, I hated playing against the Columbus Blue Jackets, so any of these forwards I'm excited to play with. And to have those defense back there is something I'm really looking forward to, is getting a puck from guys like Jonesy and Zach. It's pretty exciting for me. I've been talking to Cam a lot. He's a guy that obviously I've looked up to. Smaller guy, and he's so competitive, works so hard, well respected. and he's always been so good to me. So I'm excited to spend a lot of time with a guy like that and learn from him. And I mean, realistically, I'm excited to play with all those guys. I mean, there's no one person I could pick, but it's a great team. I'm just really excited to be a part of it.
All right, here's somebody else. I didn't want to put their name on here. They're anonymous, but how do
Nice.
you feel about the reverse retro jerseys? And I'm asking you this because I think I saw on social media
I
you
love
reacted to this. Okay, go ahead.
I like them a lot, but then like I forget who I was talking to, someone from Columbus, and they didn't like them. I was like, I like them a lot.
There is a split. I'm telling you, from what I deal with and I see, there is a split, and it is noticeable. It's not, there's the gray areas like this, and the other things are like this, because they either love them or hate them. So, you know, you're the new guy. You're allowed to pick. You like it.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I love them. I think they're sweet. I kind of ruined the surprise. I posted a picture on my Instagram of me wearing these, like, the Columbus outfit. I had no clue. I didn't put two and two together, but I got 3 pairs of pants, and the first ones I grabbed were these blue ones. I was like, oh, these are cool. And I was wearing like all blue head to toe, and I was like, there's something wrong about that picture. It doesn't look right. I didn't think of it, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, I wasn't probably supposed to wear those. Before the jersey was released. So I apologize, but definitely did not mean to do that. But no, I love the new jerseys. I'm pumped about them.
That is funny. You know what's really funny? I saw that picture of you in the gear, and it never even hit me. I should notice that you didn't have the red pants on. But I in the summertime, sometimes guys, like my son he graduated high school. So when he would go and skate, sometimes he had a shell on, sometimes he didn't. So I guess it didn't even register with me. So
I was
got away from it.
Man, I mean, you got a bag full of your new team's gear and gear. I was just like, oh, I can't wait to throw this stuff on. It was like not even a day after I had it on and wearing it, and I felt I had to post a picture because I was so pumped about it. I mean, I love the new gear, and I was just like, oops, did not need to do that.
How do you get that stuff? I think that's something that people don't think about, and they might not know. But I mean, you get traded to a new team. You're in Toronto, but you got all that gear. How does that all come about?
So, I mean, first of all, training staff, both medical and equipment staff, I just kind of looked them all as the training staff. And you can 100%, I mean, see where I'm coming from here, Bob, because you see them and what they do. But those guys are the most valuable people in the entire league, because without them, you don't see anything. I mean, and the problem is they don't get enough credit because the work ethic that they do is all behind the scenes and no one sees it. And that's just a prime example. When you get traded and you're on the phone with 3 different people, and it feels like you know them for 10 years after 2 conversations. Like, that's just, they're all great guys. They all work harder than anyone I know. And I've never had a training staff in really any league I've played in, both junior and the NHL, that aren't top notch. So I'm really excited to get to know the guys in Columbus, and they had my gear in Toronto pretty quick. And like I said, I was really excited about that.
Greg Lyons has this question. He says, my 8-year-old daughter, Juliet, wants to know, how did you choose your numbers for the teams that you have played for?
What's up, Juliet? So, I mean, I was always number 13 when I was a little kid. Matt Sundin was my favorite hockey player. Probably don't know who that is, but he was the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs back when my dad played for them. So I loved Matt's. He's like an uncle to me. I still talk to him on a pretty much daily basis, but he's great. So I wanted to be Matt's all the time. So I always wore 13. And then when I was 12 years old, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And it kind of was like, funny story. I mean, I'm sure it's all over the internet, but when I was diagnosed, there was like a special on this guy named Bobby Clark. And I had no idea who Bobby Clark was. He just kind of looked like an old school hockey. It was like our old school hockey player that was like black and white screen and stuff. I'm like, oh my God, that's from a while ago. Like I didn't know who the heck he was. And my dad starts like, oh, you don't know who that is? I'm like, no, I have no idea. He's like, that's Bobby Clark. Remember when your doctor said Bobby Clark also has type 1, and laughed and said, like, because the question I asked was if I could still play hockey. And he said, you know who Bobby Clark was? And I was like, no, I don't. And then sure enough, that same week of learning about type 1 after I was diagnosed, there was a special on Bobby Clark. And I mean, saw his jersey. He was wearing number 16, playing for the Philadelphia Flyers. And at the time, actually, I was just making the switch from the Toronto Marlboros, who actually have a very similar jersey to the Toronto Maple Leafs, blue and white. So 13 looked good because of Matt's. And I went over to the Don Mills Flyers, and same colors as Bobby Clark. So I was like, perfect. And I felt a little guilty because I was like, man, is Matt's going to be mad at me if I switch my number to 16? And he didn't care, obviously. But so I switched to 16. Sorry, this is a long answer, but I went from 13 to 16 because I was diagnosed with type 1, and Bobby Clark became my idol. And it was like, if he can do it, I'm going to do it as well. And I thought about him all the time. Was lucky enough to meet him a couple different occasions. And it's amazing how much that does for you when you're going through tough times and you're battling adversity and you're kind of got all this doubt both in yourself and then when people are talking about it, but you see someone else, it's like the light at the end of the tunnel. So I was like, I'm going to wear this number with pride. And that's why I wore 16. So I got to the NHL, wore 16 for the Arizona Coyotes, got traded to Montreal, and Mr. Richard is actually a legend. Passed away not long ago, but his jersey's retired. So I had to switch. So I felt like I was like, all right, let's go back to 13. And went to 13 because I couldn't wear 16. Then I just got traded to Columbus, and obviously Cam wears 13, and I probably would have went back to 16 either way, but I'm excited to have 16 back.
All right, perfect. Hey, I've got a couple more for you here, and we'll let you go.
Sure.
Really appreciate your time tonight.
No
let me give you a couple of fun ones here. Ryan wants to know, how many rounds will the Jake Paul versus Evander Kane fight go? Because I know you're into this stuff, and I know you're into fighting and stuff, and that little feud that's going on.
I don't want to involve myself too much and get involved, but it won't last long. No, it really won't.
I got a couple of
Kaner. I know Kaner a little bit personally, obviously from playing against him and stuff, and he's a very, very tough dude. And I think hockey players in general, across the board, are some of the toughest athletes there. You can obviously relate to that, Bob. You see how hard these guys work in the battle, and the battle through the ability to kind of grind through pain is second to none. So, fighting aside, just tough dudes in general. And Kaner grew up with a boxing background, his father and all that stuff, and he's named after a boxing legend. So it's like, I don't know who these guys are kidding, but I'll definitely be sitting front row for that fight if that takes place, 100%.
For those few seconds.
Yeah.
You may not even have to sit down.
It'll be so worth it, though.
All right, I got a couple. I'm going to lump two together here because Jeff wants you to walk us through your tattoos, and I'm going to put that along with this from Rick, who says there's some really high-end tattoo shops in Columbus. Do you have any plans on getting a new tattoo when you get to town?
I don't know about when I get to town, but maybe eventually, for sure. I love tattoos. I mean, it'll take me a while to walk you through all my tats, but this arm is basically for my family. I got a rose for my little sister. Her middle name's Rose. Traditional, I get it. This is a horse. My older sister Carlin used to ride horses, so she got that. My mom was a Catholic and brought us to church and all that stuff. So she's definitely someone that has been a rock for me. So I got an angel holding a cross for her. Up here, I got my dad. He gets my whole shoulder and bicep, basically. I don't know why he got the biggest tattoo. He brags about it, but oh well. He's got the lion. Just kind of scraping into a rock, his initials and his birth date. And then you can kind of see a 333 there. He's got 333 career fights, which, like I said earlier, is the most of all time. And then that's just kind of like a God symbol, obviously overlooking my whole family. So that's that arm. This arm is a little bit more complicated, I guess. It's my type 1 diabetes kind of alert symbol, you can call it. We used to wear bracelets to just in case something were to happen in emergency, and the paramedics would be able to tell what was going on. So that's there, so I don't have to wear a bracelet. Probably not a good idea to have a sleeve because you can't really distinguish between the two of them. But hey, that was my first tattoo, so that was my excuse for getting a tattoo. Is
fair enough.
Like I needed to get it. It's my medical alert symbol. So that was my first tattoo. Here is just kind of like an old school little watch here with a dove, and then this lighthouse up here is actually representation of kind of the view across from the rink that I learned how to play hockey in Port Credit, Ontario. There's a lighthouse there, and I just have vivid memories of leaving the rink or going to the rink at 6 a.m. and seeing that lighthouse when I was like, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 years old. You don't remember much from that age, but for whatever reason, I remember that lighthouse. And I think it looks cool too. So I threw that on there. The inside got just like a skull. I mean, looks kind of cool, a little scary, but that's why it's in the inside. That's more like my personal, like, cool look. Got my number there on the ace of spades. That's like my lucky card. So I got that, and then I got a Joker card on the back. I'm sure you guys have seen the picture of me dressing up as the Joker, Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight. It's one of my favorite movies, and definitely my favorite performance in any movie I've ever seen. So I love the Joker, and he's a guy that I mean, rest in peace. But his performance, and he literally put his whole life into that performance. So I figured I'd just pay tribute to him.
Yeah, he sure did. That was that was like, was he really acting? That's how good it was, right?
Exactly. So yeah, that's my tattoos. I mean, sorry, abbreviated version. I'm sure we'll do a more in-depth one down the road, but that's it.
That's a pretty good Zoom tour of tattoos. I'll tell you that, Max. It was very, very well done. I got one more fan question for you, and this is from Leighton, who says, speaking of football, how do you feel about Ohio State?
Listen, at first I was embarrassed to say this, but I'll be the first to admit I have never been a college football fan. Now that I'm going to a city that has the best college football scenery, I guess, in terms of like your atmosphere at games and stuff, and just the history of Ohio State, the big massive games that you guys play, I'm gonna start dialing into it. So I'm definitely an Ohio State fan now. I mean, you guys might like this because I ended up playing in junior for the London Knights. So there's absolutely zero college football that would mean anything to you guys in the States. So that doesn't matter. But before that, I was actually planning on going to Michigan and go over there on a scholarship to play hockey. So I made the decision just knowing that I was going to eventually end up in Ohio, and I didn't want to upset any of the Ohio State fans. So I'm happy I made that decision and went to play junior instead of college for that exact reason. And I stand by that for sure.
Hey, I got one last thing for you. You were talking about one of your tattoos, the lighthouse overlooking the rink where you started playing. I know you're filming a show, or what are you filming right now with in Canada? Are you doing something with your diabetes? I saw you going into one of the old rinks that you were going back to that you played as a kid.
Yeah, so that's actually, that was a month or two ago we filmed that, but that's the thing that I was talking about earlier. It's called the Dexcom G6, and I mean, I hope I got a chance to meet as many type 1s as possible down in Columbus. I'm really excited about that. So I wear this obviously game-changing device that's called the CGM that allows me to see my glucose levels real time on my phone, right? I mean, nowadays we all have our phones on us 24/7, unfortunately, but that is definitely one aspect that is great for me. I can always see where my glucose levels are trending, either down or up. I can have people follow me, whether it's my girlfriend, my parents, whatever it might be. And for these younger kids and parents that are having to deal with what my mom and dad dealt with and the stress that goes with that, it just kind of alleviates a lot of that. So it's been awesome for me. The technology advancements through type 1 diabetes in the last couple of years has been incredible, and really, really excited for it. Obviously, we're not at a cure yet, but they're definitely making it a lot easier and a lot more manageable for us. And especially when you're playing at the highest level of hockey in the world, you want to make sure you're ready to go. So this device allows me to be at my best, that's for sure, and definitely thankful for it. So you guys will see probably the commercial. I'll post it I want to say it's in January. It's coming out. You won't see it on TV because it's just in Canada, but you'll see it on my social media for sure. So let me know what you think. Okay.
How much pride do you take in the fact that you are able to be kind of a face for this disease to a lot of people? Taking pride in just saying, look, it doesn't matter if you have this, you could still do whatever you want to do with your life.
That's exactly it. And you know, I was very fortunate to meet Mr. Bobby Clark, like I touched on earlier. And just knowing that someone did it and experienced everything that I experienced allows you to kind of get over those hurdles of kind of doubt and fear of, oh man, like I have to deal with this, no one else does. Trust me, I know what it feels like to go through what you're going through. It's not fun. Give yourself a pat on the back because you deserve it, and not only you do, but your whole family does. And look, use me. I'm living my dream of playing in the NHL. My dream since I was as long as I can remember, was to win a Stanley Cup. And I'm lucky enough to have the opportunity to do that every single day, playing in the best league in the world. And obviously, I worked as hard as I possibly could to get here and to stay here. So if I can do it, so can you. And it doesn't really matter if you want to be in the NHL, you want to be a teacher, you want to be a garbage man. It really doesn't matter. Whatever your dream is, despite having type 1, you go out and get it. And that's kind of the message that I send to everyone. And you learn so much from the type 1 community. It's pretty small, pretty tight knit. And doctors are fantastic, and so are nurses. But when you have a conversation with someone that knows exactly what it feels like to go low or exactly what it feels like to go high, it definitely resonates a lot more. So I try and take as much time as I possibly can to talk to as many kids and families about what I deal with, and ask them questions about what they deal with, and try and help them through any situations that they might need help with, and just give them some hope, because that's what it's all about, right?
That is right. Absolutely. That's very, very well stated. And I think it's great because obviously when Bobby Clarke was playing, the communication wasn't like it is today. As you said, you have a big platform with social media, and the fact that the coverage of the game is like it is today. You have a chance to reach a lot of people. You are reaching a lot of people, and I'm sure that message resonates with a lot of people. So Max, I appreciate you doing that. I know everybody appreciates you doing that. And I think to me, it's just another great thing to have a person like you join the organization and have that, you're great hockey player, great competitor, want to win the Stanley Cup, gives his team a better chance to win a Stanley Cup. And then there's that other level on top of that. So it's great to have you here. And I really appreciate your time tonight. I know the fans appreciate your time tonight. And we all look forward to you being in Columbus at Nationwide Arena, getting back on the plane, going around the NHL, and doing our job. So until that time can happen, you stay safe, take care, and thanks again.
All right, guys. Thank you. Take care.
That is Max Domi, Blue Jacket centerman, and he has been the guest tonight. Thank you for being here, and thanks for all the questions that you asked. This has been Hockey from Home. It's been presented by Kemba Financial Credit Union.